Good day, friends. We have a surprise addition to this month's work. Surprise in as much as I certainly didn't think I'd be working on it today. I'm going to pick it up and show you what it is. It is a well-used Fender Precision bass. Fender Precision Light bass, as far as I know. It belongs to a local musician by the name of Graham. I don't really know the guy. I've just met him. But he was put onto me by a Russ Sacco Saxton, who I did some work for last month, and he was that impressed. He's telling his mates all about me. And this guitar came. The guy rang me yesterday, Graham. He said, I need a bass sorting for next week. He says, I've got gigs and blah 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 blah. I said, what's up with it? He says, well, there's a lot of fretware. I think it might need a refret, and he's absolutely right. It does need a refret. There are indentations in there nearly touching the wood. Round here. Can you see them? Hope so. Take my word for it. Anyway, this is what I love to see. This is a well-used instrument. It means it's being played and it's being enjoyed. So, why am I doing this today? Well, I've got loads of jobs. I'm full for the month. I've had over a month's work come in the first 2 weeks of August. And I'm going to have to stop taking work in after this weekend. I've got another guitar, 2 more guitars doing, one being posted, one being driven up from Leicestershire. And I really can't take any more in this month of August. But anyways, I'm doing this today because the two I'm working on, I was waiting for, I'm waiting for parts on one, and I'm waiting for a response from the owner on the other. So I'm going to do this, and this should not take me too long with it being a bass. And it is in for a refret. What I'm going to do before the refret though is I'm just going to test that all the electrics and everything's working fine. And if I'm happy with that, I'm going to whip the strings off and we're going to get these frets out and we're going to replace with very, very similar frets. These are 2.6 millimeters wide on here. Now, the fret wire I'm using lately, my favourite fret wire, I've done the last 5 fret jobs with this fret wire, is Sintoms Elite. And the thing about Sintoms Elite is it's not like the modern hard stuff, which is 18% nickel silver. This is actually 25% nickel silver. And like I say, the last 5 fret jobs I've done with it, and it's just really, it's not too difficult to work. It is obviously more difficult to work than regular fret wire, but it's not as difficult to work as stainless. So, and I've been using it, I've not been charging extra for it, and it's going pretty well. Since I've started cutting the frets to size, it's going really well, let's be honest. It's going really, really well. So I'm using the same fret wire, but because I couldn't get 2.6 millimeters like this, I'm going to be using 2.8. And the fret wire is astonishingly good. I buy it from Totec Luthier Supplies, and it is really, really good stuff. And let's just get some out. And it is super hard. And I've been recommending this to everyone. It's really, really hard fret wire, and it's beautiful. So I'm going to be using this. But what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to faff about with this. I'm not going to be coming back every 5 minutes, sticking the camera on and blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to make sure all the electrics are working, that I'm happy with that. And if that is the case, we're going to whip the strings off. We're going to keep the same strings on because they're relatively new strings. One thing the owner did ask is, could I possibly look at removing the nut and putting on a bone nut on there? The thing is, I've got to look for these for nuts like this in this size, and I cannot get one anywhere, and I can certainly not get any bone. If I could get a pre-cut Graphtec one, it'd be great. Well, not Graphtec, we don't do bone, but if I could get a pre-cut one, I would use it, but I can't find it anywhere. The only thing I could really do is go and buy a piece of blank bone and carve one, and that's going to cost you 45 quid because I've got to carve it from scratch. So I've decided I'm going to leave the nut. If I do need to bring the strings or the nut higher, I could shim underneath it, but I don't think I have to do that because the strings here are quite high above the first fret, which means even though I'm going with a slightly higher fret wire at 1.4 millimeters, it means we should still be okay with that nut on there. If I do need to remove the nut and shim it, I will do that, and there will be an extra charge on that, but all being well, I probably won't have to do that, and that'll make things a lot easier. So let me get the strings off, let's start pulling these frets, and we'll see where we are, and stay tuned. I'll just tell my wife, I've never seen such frets as worn as this, and even the pickups, look how worn the pickups are. String indentations, how good is that? Well, let's just turn this over, and there you go. Do I need to point anything out there? I think you can see that those frets are very, very well worn, and that means the guitar is being used and really used, and that's great. The nut, I think we have enough on that nut to leave it on there, you know, to not have to change that. I mean, it seems to be enough height there. I'm hoping so. It looks well high enough above the frets, but don't forget we are going with higher frets, so we'll see. But I'm going to pull these frets, and we will not be faffing about. And I'm going to turn the bass around. I'm going to move the camera so you can see how we do this. There's lots of wear on the fingerboard as well. I will not be re-radiusing the fingerboard because of the amount of wear and indentations in there. But we can make sure, we can just basically, as long as we have a look down the line and see that the radius is more or less intact, which I know it is, we're going to be fine. We're just getting them, we're going with higher frets anyway, so any discrepancies we've got in the radius of the fingerboard itself we can sort out when we level the frets. So just going to move the camera. I'm going to explain how we're going to remove these frets, and all I really want to do is have some fun. To get it. So we get around about the middle. I'm going to zoom in there like that. And that's a pretty good guess. This camera's knackered by the way, I've just bought a new one. But I don't have a charger with the new one, and even though it's good and great, battery's flat, so I can't use it yet. Here we are. I'll explain how I'm going to move these. I do have an adapted soldering iron, which I've had plugged in for 10-15 minutes. And here it is. And I hope you can see it where you are. And it's got a bit on the end, and I've carved a groove in there. And it's a matter of just getting in there. Why do we heat the frets? Well, chances are they're glued in. Then we're going to soften and melt the glue, and it make them come out easier. I'm going to explain how I'm going to do this as I do it. I do have some Stumac chip stoppers. There. See how that works? I'm going to slide it onto the fret as we remove the fret, and any chips that want to pull out will stop them coming out, I hope. I'm expecting a little bit of chipping. These frets have been in a long time, so I'm going to explain that. And the fret pullers are here, ground flat fret pullers. They'll get right under the fret. That should be hot enough, should be well hot enough. So let's get in there. I'm not going to zoom in. Wow, I can't even get under this one. It's that low. There you go, that's out. Oh, it's just come straight out. Yep, and is that chipped? There's a little bit of a chip there. There's nothing we can't fix. What we're going to do is we're going to fix these chips as they happen. And how do we fix a chip as they happen? We just drop a little bit of super glue on there. I know you can't see from where you are. But that's it, that's fixed. And once that's done, we get in there. I'm really rushing this. I'm not rushing the video. I'm getting done then. Basically, half a mil blade in there, which is the right width. It's got a depth slot, and all we're going to do is, once we have removed the fret, is just carve straight in, make sure we've got a nice clean slot, which we have. This excess glue that I've just spilled on there, very easy to remove. Just take a Stanley blade and we scrape it off. And that's it. And no major chip in there. We can refret straight over that. There you go. There's one chip I've got to repair there. We're not too worried about things like that. So that's it. That is one out. Again, not the easiest things to get out because they are so low. I certainly did need replacing. And I said to Graham, I said, look, there's no point in doing a half a refret because these are that low down this end. We'll rip the lot out. We'll do the whole lot. I will be removing my neck when I put my new frets back in. I like doing bases. I've not done a base for a while. Bases are pretty easy to do. Again, just need to get in anywhere, anyhow. They are in tight. What I should be doing is using the fret chip stopper. There you go. Chip stopper I can use this way. I may as well not be using it, look, because it's already pulling the frets right out anyway. But that should stop any chipping. There's nothing there to worry as this is all fine. That's great. Again, same thing. They are in a little bit tight. It's to be expected of an instrument that's used so much. Let's have some power this bass. It's good to see. There is no steam coming off this, no hissing. It means they're probably not glued in, they're probably just knocked in without glue. I think it's all manufactured. Let's see if we can get one out the far side first. Not really. Oh, we'll just get in there. Look, that's how you're supposed to pull them out. And then we get the chip stopper underneath. We rip it out. And again, that's come out not super clean, but not bad at all. Some little chipped areas. Nothing we can't sort out. Probably 2 chips I need to repair there. Not going to grumble about that. Anyway, that is it. I'm going to rip the rest of them out. Once they're out, we're going to take the neck off. We'll lightly sand the fingerboard just to make sure we've got it nice and even. Clean all the slots out, repair any chipped areas, and we'll get the refret done, eh? Just want to show that as we're getting further along the neck, the frets are becoming easier to get out. And we have some chipping, but it's not really as bad as I thought it might have been. We've got a few I need to repair, but you know, nowhere near as many as I thought I might have. But these ones, I'm going to show you how they should come out. That end they don't, because they've been sweated in, they're well worn, and there's not a lot of metal to grab hold of with the fret pullers. So, but this one I'm going to show, it's not too much worn fret, so it'll be a lot easier to get out. So getting a little bit of heat in there, and hopefully this time I'm going to get the fret chip, the chip stopper underneath and show you how that should work. So we're just going to try and grab the fret at the end, and there you go, and there it is. And once we've done that, hopefully we can keep my arm out of the way and get this underneath, and we can slide it in like so. You see how it works? And that should stop you getting any chips. And there you go, and that is the case, and that is a lovely clean pull. And one more time, show the next one. Sorry if you can hear any noise out there, my wife's piddling about in the kitchen and the door's not closed. But anyway, there you go, a little bit of heat in there. And this is how we should pull out. Got a bit more work to do down the far end of the guitar, down the headstock end. As I say, I will be removing the neck from the guitar. I will be removing the tuners from the headstock, just to make things easier when we get the new frets in. I will be precision cutting the frets to the right width. Makes it a lot easier when you're filing the edges down. I'll explain more about that when I do it. And there you go. There you go. And we can get, again, chip stopper underneath. My wife has kindly heard me complaining and she's gone and closed the kitchen door. And there you go, chip stopper underneath there. Try and get my arm out of the way. And that's how it should work. Do you like that? Didn't that look good? It's exactly how it should work. So, we'll crack on, get these last few out. We're cutting the slots, as the slots are fine anyway. I will be gluing the new frets. I will not be gluing the new frets in. I will be putting glue in the slot, just normal tight bond original. We're not using it to glue the frets in. I'll be using it to fill the gaps from the bottom of the tang of the fret to the bottom, or the top of the tang. You know what I mean? The gap between the bottom of the slot and the tang going into the slot, and we'll have that filled with tight bond. That, if anything, that will just stop it sounding dull, just as a gap filler. You don't really need to glue frets in if the wood is good. If the wood's been dried out, if this guitar's been stood for years and it's not the wood has not been treated with mineral oil or anything, I would probably say just give it a soak with mineral oil overnight, then clean the slots again, and that'll make the wood a little bit more supple to accept a fret. You don't want brittle wood because you're going to chip the wood putting frets in, and you really don't want that. Some can be a bit stubborn to pull out. You've just got to persevere. Take your time with this. And again, a nice clean pull. Can be a little bit stubborn. Don't worry about that. Take your time. Always take your time. These are coming out beautiful and clean. Make sure you don't ding the body with the saw. That's why normally I remove the neck. So anyway, I'm going to crack on. Going to get the rest of them out. We'll get the neck off the guitar, get the tuners off, and we'll start cleaning up these chips. I'll show you how to repair a chip, in a fret slot, and then I'll just bang on, we'll get the frets cut and we'll start getting them in. I'm now doing what's known in the trade as scraping the shite off a fingerboard, like so, just using a Stanley blade, and this is all grime and sweat and dead skin that has accumulated on the fingerboard over the years, and it's not very nice, but that's okay. But what we're going to do after this is we're going to oil the fingerboard as if we were cleaning it, just so we can get any more of this crap that's still on there, just get to lift off. And it's really simple, and that's all we've done. That is with a regular Stanley blade, and we'll just scrape the whole fingerboard, and that already looks almost looking new, isn't it? And I will be sanding this before I put the new frets in, but look at the difference that has made. I need to sweep all this off onto the floor. The floor will be vacuumed, the room will be fumigated, just kidding. And we'll just brush all that. And let me take my seat and we'll have a look at how this looks. You'll see I've removed the tuners, and let me have a look at that myself. Up at the, oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. A couple of indentations there. I'm not even going to bother filling them. We're going to give the guitar a little bit more mojo, but that is almost good enough to refret as it is. I've recut the slots. I am going to take some oil. I'm going to dry this oil out a bit. I'm going to get some oil in there. A mineral oil, lemon oil, you know it as. I'm just going to spray the whole fingerboard. We're going to get a fair old bit in there. We're not going to hold back. And any crud and crap on this fingerboard, that's going to lift it. This is going to lift it all off. It's also going to work its way inside the slots, which is going to slightly soften the slots just for when I get the new frets in. Now, we're going to let this soak in for, I don't know, maybe half an hour. Do its stuff. Any more crap on there, we'll wipe off. Well, I'm then going to spray it with naphtha. Well, we don't get naphtha in England, but what we do get in England is Zippo lighter fluid, and that is naphtha. So we're going to spray it in that. It's going to dry out this oil then, and then I can sand this fingerboard nice and smooth again. It is smooth anyway, but we're going to go with some 400 grit just to smooth it off. And we're going to saw these slots again, clean them all out properly, get rid of any gunk, and we're going to cut the frets and get the new frets in. But look at that. This is how it's going to look when it's got new frets in. It's going to look fantastic like that. So I'm going to leave that, like I say, leave it half an hour. I'm going to blob onto another job. I've been in contact with the clients I needed to be in touch with, so I can resume the other work I was doing. Not so much the refret on the hammer I'm doing at the same time, because I'm using the fret wire from a hammer on this bass, because the hammer is no rush. Now I've got so much work to do on the fingerboard to repair all the chips, 40 odd chips to repair on that one. There's no way I'm going to be refretting that today or tomorrow. I've already ordered other fret wire for 2 more refrets. Like I say, I don't know if I've got 4 or 5 refrets in this month, but anyway, it's all good. So, cracking on. I'm going to leave that half an hour, let that soak in. I'm going to get some WD-40 on these tuners here, on these saddles should I say, just to make sure that these Allen adjusters are loose, because the guitar is not set up right here. It will need a setup anyway. Now you do get a setup with a refret, setup's inclusive. If it has a Floyd Rose, there will be an extra charge for setting up a Floyd Rose, but this is a bass. It does not have a Floyd Rose floating tremolo, does it? What I'm going to do is we're going to give this guitar a bit of a wipe, because it's used. Let's be polite and say it's certainly used. But this will get a good clean and a setup anyway. I've tested the electrics. The electrics work absolutely fine. There's a little bit of scratching on the pots. I will get underneath there, I will get inside, and we'll go in with some service old switch cleaner. This Gubbins. You know this tin, I paid £7 for this tin of switch cleaner, and I must have had it, I've had it 4 or 5 years. Fantastic stuff. Don't ever moan at something 7 or 8 quid. You go, oh, that's too expensive. Not too expensive. I've had that 4 years. You know what I mean? Brilliant. So anyway, that's where we are with this. The bridge is going to need a bit of work, but the rest of it, absolutely fine. Tuners are in the pot. We always have a pot for a guitar. This pot's actually got my car keys, some car keys in there. Let's move it out of the way. But when you're doing a guitar, always have a pot for the bits, you know. In the pot, job done, you can stay out. So that's it, I'm going to crack on. I'll come back with an update pretty soon, I imagine. So I now have the fingerboard all cleaned up, all nice and smooth. The radius is fine. Check the radius down the length of the neck. Very pleased with that. It's 9.5 inch radius all the way down. A couple of tiny chips in the fret slot areas. You know what? I'm not concerned by them at all. I'm not going to fill any of those in. They're not deep enough there to cause a problem. A couple of little indentations up this top end here. They're not going to cause a problem either. We're going to leave them in. I think if anything, it's going to add to the mojo that this guitar already has in abundance. Beautiful, beautiful thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut the frets, and we're going to stick the frets in a fret block there. And I'm going to show you how I cut the frets for the guitar. And just move these couple of things out of the way. I'm going to get my fret wire and my cutters, blah blah blah, and I'm going to explain what it is that we're doing here. So, cutters there, that's good. Fret wire is over there, that's also good. Just going to move the camera and I'll come back. So I've already explained about fret wire. We'll go with Sintoms Elite, which is 25% nickel silver, really, really hard. It's pre-radiused, its radius quite tight. I would imagine this is about an 8 inch radius maybe. And all we're going to do is I'm just going to mark the first few out. Take the cutters, cut the first one. Really hard fret wire. Once I've got one cut, like so, I've cut that far too big, that's alright. How many will I get from this? I should get 4 from a strip. Probably not down this end. I'll do 2 at this end and 2 at the far end off one strip. So once I've got one fret cut, I'm going to basically cut the tang, which is this part underneath, right to the edge of the fingerboard. Now I do that is, first I'm going to bend this back because this, when this cuts it bends over. I'm going to take my fret tang nippers. Great piece of kit these. These are also made by Sintoms. They're not for stainless steel, but they will cut stainless steel if you're careful. See the S up there? That's a Sintoms S. I think it's cost me 90 odd quid. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim the end of a tang from a fret, and it's just a matter of getting it in the right way for starters. Place it in there, press down, give it a cut. Hope you can see that. This tang has been cut away. There, I'll do the same this side. And I've cut tang from both sides. And what we're going to do is measure the tang. Again, a fingerboard, which is absolutely perfect. Just check there. This is the right size. It's exact width. There you go. Can you see there? No tang. I've already cut the tang away. And all I need to do then is remove the fret. Snip off the edges, like so. Catch that if you can. And that is one fret, precision cut to the perfect width of the slot it's going in. Oh, I think, oh, that looks great. A little bit overlap there, just want to get back right in. So I always precision cut my frets. It takes longer, but when it comes to filing the edges later on, it makes the whole job a lot easier. Just, and there you go. What do I think of that? I think that is perfect. That's fantastic. So that is one done. What we do then is we place fret number, whatever number it is, 12, 15, 17, 19, 20, 22. We stick it in slot 22. Can't really get any easier than this, can you? Then we'll do the rest. We'll get the rest cut. So I'll cut number 21 now, same again. A bit of an overlap there. Make a cut, measure again, measure twice, cut once. You know how it works. Really hard fret wire, so it's difficult to cut. There you go, we have it cut. Again, same thing, overlap, cut away a bit of the tang. Not too much this time. Certainly not as much as last time. Got a bit of a bend in it again, we can take that bend out with these nippers. when you start cutting your own frets, you'll suss out how these things work. It's pretty hard to explain when you've not used it before, so bit of tang off there, try not to remove too much. Again, take a measure, we are overlapping there, we need to remove a little bit more, take a bit off this edge. Oh, I think that's going to be about right. Again, that looks really good. Nip off the ends, very hard this wire. Giving that a right good squeeze to get rid of that. But there you go. Number 21 done. Place it in, put it in place. Just check the width there. Yeah, that's fantastic. Really pleased with that. So that's the first two done, 22 and 21. Want to get two more at this end? Probably not. Oh, I will do. I think I will do. Take that there. That's one. Right, give me another one there. Now I'm going to do two down this end with this. Give me a lot more leeway. And that's how you always get four out of your fret wire. Do two at one end, two at another. I could do three at this end actually. This one's that thin down here, look at that. Got loads of leeway there. Again, trim this right back. That's pretty good. Still well overlap there. Nip off the end. Just check. We still need another 4mm off there. Oh, that looks to be pretty good. I've dropped it in somewhere. Don't worry, we'll cut another. See, it dropped in that box. No problem. We'll cut this one. I'll find that one in a bit. Not going to faff about chasing stuff about. One flat edge there. See if I drop things, I can't bother to pick them up. Can't see it at the moment. We'll pick that up later. So you can see I'm going to precision cut all of the frets. I do love refretting guitars. It's what I'm all about, really. Got 4 in this month. 4 in within the first 2 weeks of this month. That's pretty good. Look at the width of that. That's pretty good. That one's even better than the one next to it, so we'll put that in number. So we'll stick that in the one next to it. We'll stick that in number 19. We'll cut another one for 21. So that's it. I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get all these cut to the right size, and then we can look at getting them in the guitar. Right, good morning friends. We are ready to crack on with refretting this precision bass neck. I've got some glue ready, and I'm going to fill the slots with the regular Type 1 glue. I'm not going to fill the slots, I'm just going to get some glue into the slots. We're not gluing the frets in, so to speak, we are just using it as a gap filler. I'm going to do 2 or 3 right now. And it may look messy, and trust me, it is messy. But we ain't going to worry about that, because we're not going to make any more of a mess than is necessary. So I'm going to get some glue in the slots. And you'll see that we're not going to be making a mess in a minute. I'm going to do 4 at a time. Get some glue in the slots there. Four done. I have a wet cloth sitting by, just to remove all of the glue. You can hear the water, that's back in the water. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the frets one at a time, we're going to line them up, and we're just going to tap them in. We're not going to hit them all the way in, because these are going to be pressed in. These are all precision cut to the right width. I'm not going to zoom in with a camera or anything, I'm just doing these as is. I'm going to do this refret in 2 halves. And that's it. Once it's tapped in like so, we're going to go round to the fret press and we're just going to press it in. Like I said, we're not going to mess about. That's your first 4 pressed in, and we'll turn around. This is the hardest one to get in, the final one, because it's right on the edge. I'm not even worried, I'm not even going to check for level as they go, and we'll do all the levelling later when they're all in. So there you go. First 4 in. Remove the glue. The excess glue. That is it. That is as difficult as it gets. There are areas where I need to support the neck on from underneath, which I will do. Remove all the glue from the edge here. Let's see if I can just show you the edges. How's that for you? Is that any good? Can you see that? That's the first 4 frets in. Just going to keep repeating the procedure. Glue, press, glue, press. Once I get to down round about here, I'm going to clamp them in. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do the rest later. We're going to do it in 2 lots or 2 sections. So it really is, that's as difficult as it gets. You see, they're not exact width, there is a little bit hanging over the edge, we're not bothered about that, we're going to remove that later. Good thing about this is it's satin finish neck, so it doesn't matter if we just nick the wood just a tiny bit, we ain't going to tell. So there you go, that's that. Next 4. Doesn't matter about there being any water in there. You can be a little bit gung-ho with the glue. As long as we get some in the slot, we're alright. I'm just about going off glue here for about 12 slots. I can't remember where I picked this trick up from, getting the glue in like this and just wiping it off. Some famous luthier on YouTube. What a great tip. Make sure the frets are lined up. As you can see, getting the frets in doesn't take a lot of time. Just get them all beveled, levelled. Oh, that was quite a bit wide. Oh well, no problem. And again, turn that round, get it pressed in. Now you see we're pressing into the body a little bit, so we need a little bit of support from underneath. I did have a little piece of, I'll make one. A little piece of felt right under where the heel, the carve is. And that way, when we press down, you see, we have support underneath. We'll move that out of the way. So we go from this side. 1, 2, 3, and again, a little bit of support underneath. 4. Remove the excess glue. I love refretting. It's a lot of work, it's not a lot of money, but it's just great. I love it. And there you go, we have 8 in. And now just to make sure we're all seated nice, we'll just give it. Just for argument's sake, let's just go across with the fret rocker just to see if it'll go in nice and level. A little bit high on that one in the middle. We're not worried about stuff like that because we're going to level again anyway. Some very, very tiny high spots there. I'm not too worried about any of this. It just makes it easy if we have no high spots, and that's a little high spot there. Still high, that's okay. Get these high spots all out when we level later. That will do. Like I said, we're going to level them out later anyway. I mean, nice and even. And that's it. I'm going to crack on off camera, get the rest of them. When it comes to this area, I'm going to use a neck rest underneath. We'll remove this pull out section here, which fits in like so. You get that idea. And straight in like that. So there you go. That explains that. Right, I'm going to crack on. Get them. Well, I'm not going to get them all in. Get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Get another 8 in. We can clamp that up. We're going to come back. We'll have 6 left to do. So once that's done, we can move on to the next part, which will be getting all these filed. Back soon. Right, I've put a dozen frets in. I've just put the last 4 in there, and that's as many as I'm going to do. We're going to clamp those frets just for an hour. I'm going to move on to another job. A setup I've got to do. You see, with these the frets down at this end, we were no longer under the heel. We are have a neck rest, and we've taken the bottom support out of the fret press, and we'll just do it straight on here. You hone your techniques as you learn, as I have. I've actually cutting the frets to size as a technique I've been using for about the last 8 months. Makes the job a lot quicker. When I file these edges down, I don't have a lot of material to remove. So now cloth can go back in there. I'm going to give these a dry between the frets. Like I say, I'm not bothered about them being level right now. They are in. And that's all that matters. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to clamp, I'm going to move the neck out of the way a second. Roll this out of the way. I'm going to get some clamps out. I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. And we're just going to clamp the frets back like so. We're going to get 3 clamps, one there, one there, one there. We'll support the neck underneath with some blocks of wood just so we don't clamp right into the neck, put an indentation in there. I'm going to do that all off camera and I'll show you how that will make sure we get central. And we are, that's all good. Good thing about that is I can get one on the end there. Brilliant, take my word for it, back soon. And there you go, and we are clamped. And I'm going to leave this for about an hour. The glue takes 30 minutes to dry, it will take 24 hours to completely cure. But once we've got to about an hour, we'll be fine to move on to the next lot of frets. So you can see we've just got a 9.5 inch radius radius beam, out above the frets. Everything's supported underneath. We have a piece of wood under the heel, and we have a neck rest underneath this part where it's clamped. Okay guys, we're back. Still getting used to this remote control from my phone on this camera. Really difficult to work. It was a little bit of a delay in there, but anyway, let's forget that. I've refretted the rest of the bass. I had 6 more frets to put in. We are all clamped, and I'm going to leave this for an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll move on to the next part of the process, which will be to file back all these edges to get the bevel sorted. Once the bevels are sorted, we can crack on with leveling and recrowning. So tune in for that. See you soon. Okay guys, we're now getting to the fun part, and that is filing off these edges. And it really is as simple as filing off the edges. And I've got a flat file I bought years ago, don't know what cut it is. It's a flat file. I bought it specifically for leveling frets that way, and for taking off the beveled edges, or taking off the edges. And it's a matter of doing this for a long time, being careful not to carve into the wood. That's why you see I'm going at a slight angle. I'm going to bring this right down to the edge of the fingerboard or the edge of the neck. Going along the whole length of the neck, and it is going to take me a while to do this, quite a long time. You see I'm slightly at an angle there, because I don't want to be carving into the neck itself. And there's no quick way of doing this, which is what you have to do. On a bass, which is longer, it's going to take me a bit longer than normal. There you go. Be careful when we get up to the edges here, when we get close in. Once the resistance, stop getting resistance, we know we're up to where we need to be. Still overlapping there, but once I get very close to where I need to be, I will take a much smoother file. This is my number 4 cut Swiss file, made by Valorbe, V-A-L-A-O-R-B-E. Beautiful file, and it's a super fine cut. Use a brush on there, and we are just going to get right close to the edge, as close as we can. And I'll bring it almost dead horizontal. I'll just angle it back ever so slightly. We're not going to cut into any of the wood at all. Now if this neck was lacquered, we would not be cutting into the lacquer either, which is how I can get away without having to respray anything. But you have to be very careful when you get this close. That's pretty good. This fret wire is a lot tougher than what I've been used to, so it does take more work. But when it comes to the beveling, I'm going to do it all. I'm not going to measure anything. I'm not going to do 35 degrees. I'm going to hopefully do around about 10 degrees, which is about there. Notice I said about. There's no exact measurements. I just do this from experience. And that feels really, really good. So I've only done about 7 or 8. Got to go all along the length of the neck. So I'm going to crack on, get a lot more of this done, and I'll come back and give you an update in a while. And here we are. And we know we are close enough to the edge where we can run our hand up the side there without fear of cutting ourselves. And look at that. Just beautiful. And to show that, I'll wipe the file. It only cuts one way, this file, so make sure I get the right way. No resistance. If I angle it, you're going to hear resistance. Like so, but if I get it to the angle I want it at, and that is it. And these are beveled just by eye and feel. I don't mind having these more or less vertical at the edge. Now I'm going to deburr each of these frets on the edge anyway, and by that I mean we have one safe edge on the file. It's just a matter of going across. In fact, I'm the wrong side, I need to be that side, but it's just a matter of deburring. I'll show this when I've got this horizontal in set in there properly, and we can actually do it properly. What I'll do is I'll have all of the neck taped up so we don't dig in, even with the safe edge, so we don't dig into the rosewood. But what I need to do now is I need to turn this around and do the other side. Just a little bit, I can just feel that there. So let's just go again. Nice and even, and I think a little bit more there. And that is it, and we are super smooth, and that is fantastic, my friends, trust me, that is beautiful. I'll just put my wrist across there, as that, can you see? Nothing. Beautiful. So we need to do the opposite side again. A lot of hard work in this. It does make your hand ache a little bit, or your arms ache a little bit, but you know, it's beautiful. I love my job. So how am I going to do this? Shall I do it that way on? No, I think I will just go with it, and I'll go far side this time. We'll see how I go with that. We're all in the picture. Yeah, it's all in the picture. So I'm doing it from a slightly different angle because I've got the back of the guitar facing me now rather than the front. Again, these are sticking out a lot, so it's going to be a lot of hard work. So why don't I get on with that and answer my phone, and I'll come back to you later. Same again with this side. Just finish that off, feels beautiful. Just one more check. Flat side of the file. Last one's just been a little bit stubborn, just need to get a little bit more off there, and that, my friends, should be it. Turn the file around and go this way. And we'll do the clean wrist test. I'll take my beautiful clean wrist and I'll go right across there, and there you go. Bit of black residue, but no cuts, nothing sharp there at all. Just beautiful. So that is both sides filed smooth, beveled, and now we can move on to the next part of the process where we'll get this neck level. and we're just going to round off these beveled edges just to remove any burrs that may be there. I'll alter how the vice holds this neck, I'll get it all set properly, and I'll show you exactly how I do that. I'm going to do a job now that I call knocking off, and that is just knocking off any burrs that may be on the bevels. If you check down this edge and this edge, you'll see that the edges are now beveled across, but these edges have still got a little bit of, might have a little burr on there. So what I tend to do is, I don't really need the whole fingerboard all taped up, but just for ease of purpose, I'm going to show you just one. And what we do is, we do have a safe edge on the file here, and so we'd go, if we're doing one without tape, we'd go on the safe edge anyway, and it's just a matter of rolling over file, roll over file, and just over the centre. And what that's done is, that has rolled over all of the edge of this bevel. It's smoothed it all off, removed any burrs, and it's not marked the fingerboard. Thing with that is, you have to be uber careful not to mark it. So what I do is, I like to get it taped up, because then I've got the tape protecting the fingerboard anyway, and it's just roll and file and over the top, and that has done the whole of that D. Again, beautiful, and that is so nice and smooth. And it is, moving tape is a pain, but I'm going to do it in this case. I'm really going to take my time with this and do it properly. And again, safe edge, roll, and over, and look at that, beautiful. The reason this is not sticking to the fingerboard is the fingerboard may have some oil residue from when I oiled the fingerboard to soak it, to get the wood to soften just a little to accept the frets. But that's all fine. So there you go. 22 times 2, I've got 44 to do. I've done 2. So there you go. You're thinking, oh, I bet when that camera's off, he's going to move that tape and do it all by freehand. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually tape up the whole fingerboard right now and do it properly, because I've got to tape the fingerboard up anyway for when I level and recrown the frets. So let me get out my regular tape, regular masking tape, 3 sizes, 25mm, 19mm and 6mm. And what I'll do is, I'll see which most tape I've got left over. I've got more of a 19mm left, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape down the edge, and I'm just going to quickly show you how I tape this up, ready for doing the job that I'm doing and for doing the levelling and polishing. We need this on anyway. So down the side, that's just so we can peel the rest off quite easily. Same length the other side, right up to the top of the frets, or the top of the fingerboard from the side, and we're just going to tape up fingerboard, leave the frets exposed. I've seen me do this many times, well, most of you have. It's just a matter of taping up the whole of the fingerboard. It's going to take me a while to do this, so I'm going to do it off camera, and then I promise you that I will be beveling these, removing the sharpness of these bevel edges. Oops, it's got on the floor. Maybe I should pick that up, so it's a good idea. I hope you're liking the new camera. I'm not convinced yet. I'm sure it's good. I'm not convinced with that picture-in-picture thing. Probably not going to use it all the time. I just thought I'd use it today because I can, because it's there. But it's very awkward to control that camera with my phone because there is a bit of lag there. So if I want to zoom in, I'll press the zoom and then 2 seconds later it'll start moving, and that's not good enough for me. I need it to be better than that, so maybe I'll look for another way to do that. But anyway, to show you how this works, you can see how we're taping up the whole fingerboard, leaving the frets exposed. I'll jump the gun a little here because I'm assuming that the neck is completely level and I've not checked whether it's level, so this tape's going to have to come off. So I'm just going to leave it on for now while I round over these frets or fret edges, like so. Never assume that it's level after a refret, even though your neck was level before you put frets in. You see how this is working? Rounding over the frets. So I'm going to get the rest done off camera. Once that's done, I'm going to check that my neck is level, and I'm going to retape it all up again, and we'll move on to the next part of the process. So jolly good job that I peeled back the tape and got the not straight edge on there just to check the straightness of the neck, because it is not straight, and I don't remember what size Allen key this takes. Maybe I'd never altered anything from the off. Anyway, oh, it's Japanese, so Japanese would be a 5mm. And if it's a 5mm, I have a 5mm T-bar and a wrench. And there you go, it is 5mm. And I knew that. And I'm just gonna, we had it completely loose, that was good. Just tighten it a little. Right, there you go. And now we are straight. In fact, we're a little bit off straight on that back end. Let's go for a best average. Okay. Okay, need to just come off a quarter turn, I think. Maybe we'll go with an 1/8. Right, that's looking good. That is what I will call plain straightness. I'm happy with that. That's straight. Now I can take up the fingerboard, because we can level from that. And what I do is, even with the tape on, I can check a level again, as long as I've got tape the same thickness all across the length. And as it overlaps, it will be 2 thicknesses of tape. So yeah, very good. Like I said, we're going with the original nut. I could not find a replacement anywhere for this model, which is very, very strange. I would have had to cut one from a piece of blank bone, and that would have taken me a couple of hours, and I would have charged £45 for that, plus the price of the bone, so you're looking at 50 quid. Anyway, I'm going to crack on, going to get this all taped up. We're going to bevel over these edges, like I said. We'll just remove any burrs on the bevels, and then we can come and we can get on with the fret leveling. How's that? With the fingerboard taped up, I can now go at this properly. So I'm going to be really, really careful. Safe edge again. It really is this simple. Just rolling over the bevels. 3 strokes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And you can see exactly how I'm doing it. Roll over, middle. A bit more difficult when you've got the edge of the vise on the way, but we only need to just roll over that top there. A bit more difficult to do the other side, unless I do what I normally do, and that is turn the vise round, tighten up, bring it back and do it from this end. How's that? You can't really see there, but a lot easier for me to work this way. In fact, to even work that way, I do have to stretch a little bit over here, but I can still do it. You get the drift. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with that. Once this is all done, we're going to come off the vise, we're going to go over to another bench, and we're going to look at getting these frets all levelled. So now I'm just going to take a marker pen, and we're going to mark off any high spots we have. You all know what this is. It's a fret rocker. We have 4 different lengths, and that's so we can always check just 3 frets turnover as we get shorter. Up there, blah 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 blah. And the reason we do 3 at a time is if we get a rock, we know the one in the middle is high. So we already know this one is rocking there. And we just mark up all of the high spots down the whole length of the neck. It just shows us where we've got to level the frets. However many there is, won't matter, we've got to level them anyway. So I'm just marking off, just more or less high all the way across. We are going to be levelling a lot anyway, but as things are, this is not really that bad. Say it's a fresh refret. Not bad at all. This just gives me an idea of where I need to level the most. Very minimal height difference. Which should make this fret level really quite simple. Totally normal for a brand new refret to have some high spots. And there you go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 high spots. So without further ado, I'm not going to mess about with this. I'm going to check that the neck is level. I work a lot quicker not videoing stuff. I think you all understand that. There you go. Anyway, that's that. Let's have a look there. Yeah, that's pretty good. So lovely enough for me. So all I'm going to do is take a flat file, flat side down. I'm going to go straight across where we have high spots. And once I start getting resistance, I know I've removed enough material. It'd be nice if the neck wasn't moving, but it is. Feels pretty good. Do a little bit more on the edge. Done. Next one, wipe the file. Doing two together here. So you see what I'm doing, I'm just spot leveling with a flat file. Once I start getting resistance like that, I know I have them level. Oh, we're not removing any material from the rest of them. All we're doing is just put a couple of scratches in there. We'll get them out anyway during the polishing process. Wipe clean, always wipe clean. Very, very hard fret wire this. Beautiful. Always checking what you've done. Still high on that corner there. Quite normal to have to double back. Again, remove some from one area, you have to remove on the next fret along. Just try again. Now we're good. So I'm going to crack on doing this. Once these are all done, or spot level, we're going to go across, we're going to do the whole lot with a leveling beam. I will show you that when I do it. Got to be quick because the battery is just about to die on the camera. I've leveled the frets, I've covered them all in marker pen, blue marker pen, and we are now going to do the proper level after doing this spot level with a file. It's a matter of just a few strokes with a leveling beam, and if all of the blue ink comes off quickly, which it is doing, we know we have the frets all level and we are ready to recrown them. Don't worry about it moving about, it's not going to cause any problem. But there it is. And that's all of the blue pen removed from the whole length of the neck in just a few strokes. And that means the frets are level. Beautiful job. What I need to do now is get on to the crowning side of things. Crowning is basically where we flatten the tops of the frets. We're going to put that crown back in using a 3-cornered file. Going to rebuild that crown up. Once it's done, we can get the tape back off. No, we'll leave the tape on, we'll get all the frets polished up, and once they're polished, we'll get the neck back on the guitar and get it all set up and finished. Okay guys, we're now ready to start recrowning the frets. I'm going to go with just 2 files. 3-cornered crowning file, which is this one. Edges, safe edges, these are ground smooth and very simple to explain. I'm going to start with one in the middle of the, or round about the middle. With pen over the top. Like I said, I'm going to use 2 files, I'll show you the second one in a minute. Here's the first one. The reason it's got 3 edges is, I'm going to go across the fret, this is why we'll put paper on the fingerboard. And as I cut across the fret, I'm going to arc the file toward the camera on the far side. And we're going to start building up that crown. And to do it this side, we're going to obviously arc the file away from the camera or toward the fret. And we're going to build up that crown both sides across the top. Very simple to do. I'll be looking for a line down the middle of the fret of about, certainly no more than 0.5 millimetre, 0.4 to 0.5 millimetre. It's just a matter of following the arc of the radius over the neck. And just angling the file on this far side toward the camera. And I'm looking for a thin blue line down the centre of that fret. And what we're looking to do is make that lovely upside down D shape on each end of the fret. And that is that one done. We've got a nice thin blue line down the centre. Second file, it's a profiling file. It's already got a groove in there. Blow all the stuff away, and this is just going to remove any burrs, any unevenness, straight across the top. It's not going to remove anything from the top, it's just going to hit the sides, and then we're just going to get into the edges, and that's it. And we have a lovely thin blue line right down the centre of that fret. It means we've not removed any height. It means that we won't get any rock there. Got to check that side, this side and this side. If we'd removed any height, we would be rocking there now, but we're not rocking, so we've not removed any height. And that's it, it really is that simple. Move on to the next one. Not all of these will need a lot of work because not all of them have had material removed. So, same again, clean the file. Arc away from the camera, arc towards the camera on the far side. Always clean the file. Again, always clean the file. Blow away the rubbish. And again, over the top. Lovely thin blue line down the centre. Check. We've got no rock anywhere. Check one side, then the other side, and that's it. We know we've maintained the height because there's no rock anywhere. 2 done, 20 odd more to do. I'm going to get cracking, get them done, and I'll come back and show you the results in a while. See you soon. So, down to the polishing stage, and this is basically the final part of doing the frets, and I have 6 different grits of sandpaper, coming up from 600 grit up to 2000 grit. So we've got 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500 and 2000. 6 different grits there. First grit, 600, I will use mainly just to roll over the edges of the frets that I've already softened with a file anyway. So we're just going to roll them over. There's not any burrs left on there. This is just to soften the edges a little bit. And once I've softened all the edges with this, I'll only do it with this grit. I will go across all of the frets with this paper on the first run. And we'll polish with the remaining 5 grits, go with a finer grit each time. And what that's going to do is it's not just going to bring them to a shine, it's also going to remove all the scratches. We don't polish to shine, we polish to remove scratches and to shine. So like I say, we're just removing these burrs and softening up these beveled edges. You won't feel the edge of these frets once they've all been polished. And they'll look like glass. So the glass like we're super smooth, super shiny. And this is probably the least exciting part of the job. This is a job I like to get out of the way because it takes a long time and it makes your arms ache a bit, which is no terrible thing. Just I think at least you get to see how much work goes into a refret. I mean, this is best part of the day on this already. That's just today. Don't forget I got the guitar prepared yesterday. So it's had almost shifted off. And that's it. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to polish over the frets. It's a matter of just going over the top and getting into the corners. Corners not so important on something with high frets like this, but certainly get over the top. And start getting those scratches out. This is going to take me quite a long time, so I'm going to stop the camera, crack on with this. I've got 5 more grits to do after this and I'll finish off with finest grade steel wool, and I'll come back and show you the results. Right, good morning fret friends. You catch me right at the end of finishing the polishing of this base, and I've just finishing off with steel wool, last 2 here, and these frets look fantastic. And that is it. And I've been across, we've gone with 6 different grits of sandpaper, from 600 grit through to 2000, so 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. finished off with finest grade steel wool, which is super fine. It's grade 0000, and these frets look fantastic. Really, really good. So all that remains for me to do now is go over to the bench. We're going to remove all the tape, we're going to oil the fingerboard, and we can get this back on the bass, and get some strings on and get it all set up. Another thing I've got to do on the bass is some of the saddles are a little bit tight. In fact, some of the screw threads have seized. So I've got some WD-40 in there. I'll explain a bit more about that when I get over to the other bench, but this just looks fantastic. Let me just get a magnifying glass. Maybe you can see better through there, but I certainly can. And these, wow, so good. Scratch free, glass light, super smooth, beautiful. Really, really proud of this one. But I say that about every refret because I put as much care and attention into every single one, and I want every single job I do to be at least as good as the last one. And I think when you strive for something like that to improve all the time, it always shows in your work. So yeah, again, just looks great. And you know, like I was saying, this is all about the customer. So I want the customer to come and fetch this bass, and when he sees it, I want him to say, wow, that's amazing. And that's what I'm all about here at Fret Friend. So come back over to the other bench and we'll get this all back together. How's that for you? And here we are with the neck, or we've peeled off all of the tape. How's that looking? Does that look any good to anyone? I'll just pause that and have a look at the edges on this side. Looks fantastic, looks really, really good. One slight problem I might have, oh, down there, that feels nice. That's so good. One problem I might have is this nut may now be too low because I've gone with a higher fret. And I've got a sneaky suspicion that it might be too low. And if that is the case, I'm going to have to replace it. And it's going to be pretty difficult because it's a tall nut. And I couldn't find one anywhere. And removing it is also going to be a bit of a problem because I need to remove that without damaging it. And if I do damage it, I've got to go and get a new one. And it'll be really, really difficult to get that out without damaging it. So the only thing I can really do is get this back on the bass and stick some strings on and see where we are. My sneaking suspicion is that that nut is going to be too low. But I'm going to hope and pray that it isn't. We might just get away with it. So let's see how we are when I've got it on the bass. I'm not going to oil the fingerboard or anything. I'm just going to put it back on the bass and put the strings on and see exactly where we are. So pray for me, guys, might need it. So no problem with the nut as far as I can see. I've put one string on. There's enough clearance above this first fret for not to have to worry about anything at all. I'm hoping it's going to be the same for the other strings, but what I'm doing is I'm just doing a mock-up of the rebuild. It's not really a mock-up, I'm actually rebuilding it, but I know that some of these bits, I'm going to take all these bits off again because, for instance, the screw holes at the back of the headstock are loose, so the screws are we're not exactly falling out, but they're not staying in tight either. So we're going to semi-plug those holes. I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to get this one in. We're going to semi-plug those holes with some dowel or some matchstick and a little bit of glue, just so these screws bite. Because these are the screws I'm talking about. These little gubbins here that hold the tuners in place. But we're just going to do a mock-up. Now there is another area of concern, which is the bridge. I'll explain more about that in a second. Where's my tool? Great tool this, great piece of kit. It's for lifting knobs and for tightening and loosening screws. And it's just a matter of getting a good grip on there. And it's got a grip, one on that side, and on this end, one on that side. And you can loosen screws or tighten them up. Great, great piece of kit. So my problem with this at the moment is the saddles. And each of these saddles has two screws which do have an Allen key hole, and they are American, so it is a 1/16 size hole. And the problem with these is some of them work, like that one for instance, and some of them don't. like this one for instance. So I need to try and get them free, and I could go from behind and get a plier on there and try and twist them. What I've been doing is I've been squirting some WD-40 in there, and it's worked on a couple but not on all of them, and that is a little bit worrying because I do need to get them out because they're not adjustable. It's been sweating on that much. Well, I know this is making a mess and I'm not really bothered about that. And what I'm going to have to do is probably I'm going to have to strip this bridge, get it off, and soak each of these saddles in some WD-40 even from underneath and let it penetrate and get in. I don't really have any choice. Let me just go with a get it off the body of off the base. It's not going to cause any harm. It's only basically it's a water repellent. But I need that to soak in. But what I'm going to do is, why I'm doing this mock-up, just going to get the old strings on, and we're going to make sure we have enough clearance above this nut. Blah, 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 blah. You know how it works. So I'm just going to crack on. I think I'm just going to turn the camera off in a second. Is that the right string? Yeah, it is the right string, that's good. Of course, that won't go another turn, will it? Yeah, so the problem with the saddles being, I can't raise and lower all of the saddles. I can to some extent, but not how I'd want to. So I do need to free again, we have enough clearance. I think this is going to be okay. But I need to be able to adjust these up and down both sides. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the clearance I need for a proper setup. This is why I always say you should have your guitar set up once a year. Always take it to a qualified luthier or guitar tech like me, for instance, every year, annually. Get it checked up and checked over, because you leave something like this, you may not get them out. And if we don't get them out, we've got to replace them. And that's going to be more expensive. So you need to maintain and clean your guitars at least, I'd say every 6 months, but definitely once a year. Anyway, I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get the rest of the strings on. We're going to make sure the clearance is right, and I'll come back and give you an update on these saddles, because this is a job I should be finishing within the next hour, and it looks like I'm going to have to spend another half a day sorting stuff out. Oh, I've got some tape left on there. I'll get that out in a bit. Need to take the neck back off. That's no big deal. Yeah, need to keep them maintained and keep them lubricated, and you know what I'm saying, you know, we know how it works. I've turned the bass round just to show the problem I have with the bridge area, well, the saddles in particular, not so much the bridge. So the problem being these saddle screws here. Some of them are seized, and I've given them 3 sprays of WD-40 so far, and some are free and some are not. The good news is we have at least 1 free on each saddle, which means we can alter the height up or down, but because we haven't got 2 free on each saddle, we can't set them horizontal like we're supposed to be. Some of them are a bit like that, some of them are a bit like that. Now the thing is, we can at least set the bass up to play, which is fine, but the thing is, these are going to need to be taken out and replaced. And the only way really to do that is to take the bridge off, get underneath with some pliers and get them turning from the back. Now it will screw the thread, so to speak. It will knacker the thread on the other side. It means we'll have to get them out and put some new ones in time. Whether we do that today or we do it at a later date, it's going to be, the quicker we get these out, the easier it's going to be to replace them, because once we get them out, we can clean the thread up. Get some WD-40 in there. Once we've blown that out, we'll get some new screws in there, and everything will fit perfectly and fine. What we'll do is we'll grease the threads as well with some Vaseline or something very similar, and that gives us it future-proofs this. Now we've seen this all tarnished anyway. That doesn't really matter as long as it plays. But the thing is, the longer we leave these, the more difficult it is going to be to get them out. Now I've given the owner of the bass an option. You can either leave it for now, and I will come back and do it later. But we do risk these never coming out, and the saddle's having to be replaced, which is going to be more expensive. Or I told him I can get behind there, get a good mole grip on the back, we'll get them twisted out, and I'll put some new ones in. What we don't want though is we don't want the screws to snap in there, because if that happens, then we've got to replace the saddles anyway. So what I'm prepared to do is, obviously I'm going to take the strings off now again anyway, and I've got to take the neck off because I've got a bit of tape in there. But I'm going to get underneath and I'm going to spray some WD-40 underneath. I'm going to actually remove the saddles from the bridge, and we're going to get some WD-40 on the other side, and hopefully we can get them free that way. The problem with keep sticking an Allen key in there and turning it, or trying to turn it, this one's turning fine, is we're probably going to knacker this side of it. Like for instance, this one will not turn at all, and look, it's just spinning round and it's rounded off. That one has had it, so we need to get in from underneath. So that is a dilemma at the moment. That said, like I say, I can get the guitar set up correctly for it to play, but do we want to leave that and come back to it later? My choice would be to get it done now, get it fixed while we've got it on the bench and while we've got it here, because it's going to be a lot cheaper. I'm going to charge another hour for that, and it's going to cost about £10 for the screw, so you're looking at another £35. So, you know, it really pays to get it done now. If you leave it later, I'm going to have to strip the bass again and reset the bass up, and it's going to cost you about £75. So it is my opinion that we do this now. But anyway, I've messaged the owner of the bass, told him my thoughts and what I think we ought to do, and we'll see how it goes from there. Ideally, I would like, if this hadn't happened, it'd be brilliant, because I'd have this set up in the next 15 minutes and it can go out, and that's great because I'm so busy this month. I want the stuff in and out. Not that I'm rushing anything, because I'm not. It's just, you know, I don't want things holding me up and holding me back. But anyway, that said, let's see what he has said. Replace it's going to replace the bridge at a later date anyway, if we can find one that'll fit. Yes, right, it says replace them. So we're going to go, that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to get the strings off again. I'm going to get these off. We're going to get them replaced. It might take, if I've not got any of these screws in stock, I did have some, but I don't think I've got enough, so I'll have to go and order some. So we're going to replace that. So this is going to be a next week job now. That's good. So I shall crack on with that. Check back later. So let me show you how this is going to work. I've just removed one of the saddles, the G string saddle. And there you go. That is one of the saddles, and let's see which of these are seized. That one's okay, but the end one is seized. Just spinning around up. So what I'm going to attempt to do is get a plier on this one. See how it's all chewed up? Get a plier on there and get it moving from the back. If that doesn't work, we are buggered. Well, not buggered, but we are in a bit of a mess. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to see if I have any replacement screws. I know I did have some. I had a few sets of these screws, and what have I done with them? And there we go. I do have some, and all being well, saddle screws. They will be Fender size, I hope. If not, I'm going to have to go and buy some, which means I can't finish this guitar today. I'm going to tip out all I have. Now I know I did buy a Fender size, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove one. This one. I'm hoping you can see there. And just see if I have the right size. So, you get how that works. Should I go with black or silver? I'm going to go with a silver one. These are not exactly the same height, but they should do. Again, I don't think that's a Fender one because it doesn't fit. Let's have a look. Which Allen key is it? Maybe the Japan models are a bit different. I think this is metric. That's not good. It's not a 1/20th of an inch. Let's go with 1.5 maybe. Certainly not one. It's going to be 1.3. If it's 1.3, chances are. This is a problem with Fender. If you use that many different sizes, that is 1.3 mil. Let's see if it fits. thread. And the thread does not fit. Okay, that doesn't fit. Ah, but the black ones do. Okay. The black one fits, which means it will be, is it 1/16? Yeah, it's a 1/16. Okay, the black one fits. That is good news. They will be long enough, but not as long as I need them to be. But the thing is, there's a lot of thread in there. That is fantastic. So we've certainly got the right ones. The black ones are Fender. That's really good. So what I'm going to try and do now is try and get this one moving. And maybe I should just get some penetrating oil on there, some WD-40, and let that soak in. So that is going to take, I'm going to give her at least 15 minutes. There's no point in me doing anything else now. I will take each one off. We do have replacement screws on there, which is good news. I'm going to try and let that penetrate. What we're going to do is I'm going to attack that from this back end, and I'm going to try and get a plier on there and get it moving. By a plier, I don't actually mean a plier, I mean a mole grip. And I will take, this one seems as good as any. We'll get a mole grip on there. And I'm going to get a grip on it just now, just see if we can get it moving. And we'll get it moving, or something's happening. We have it moving, we've got it out. How good is that? We've got it out, guys. We've got it out. And that is really, really good news. Okay, 1 out of 4. You know what, and if I've not knackered the thread, which I haven't, we could stick these back in. That's going to save the owner 10 quid. And we have that one free. We're going to get some WD in there still. Again, just clean it out. And we will, before putting the screws back in, we will get some Vaseline in there. Well, in this case, some lip salve. Let's just hope and pray that I can get all of the others out as easy as that. We'll go with some Vaseline in the slots, and I think we are going to be okay. The reason I'm going to remove these is the threads. I've just remembered the Allen key holes are knackered on there. So we are going to replace those 4 dodgy ones. So, good news. In fact, that's very good news. I'll get back to the bridge and saddles in a minute. Some good news though, it is all fixed. What I'm going to do now is, these holes that the screws go in on the tuners are too wide for the screws. So what we're going to do is, we're going to slightly fill in those holes. And I'm going to take something as simple as a cocktail stick. I'm going to get some glue in there. Then we're going to drop some little pieces of, it's almost dowel, it's actually kind of matchstalk type of gubbins. But what we're going to do is we're going to drop some glue in each of these holes. Just a little, I say just a little, that's a lot. No, it doesn't matter, we can wipe it off. 30 minutes, it takes 30 minutes this glue to harden and set properly, so there you go, simple as that. Then we're just going to place a piece of dowel in each one. This one seems to have split into 3 pieces, so what we're going to do is get them all in, shall we? Try. 2 out of 3 ain't bad apparently. So there you go, that's there. I'll take the flat blade screwdriver. Make sure they're all the way in. We'll give that 20-30 minutes just to stop anything coming out. We'll just bang a bit of tape over there and that's good. We're going to turn the guitar around and we're going to move on to the saddles as promised, and they are all fixed. I think you can see it there. 3 of the 4 broken ones are removed. Not the threads are okay, it's just the ends where the Allen keys go in. So I'm going to show you, here we are in regard to these, and I've let them all out so they're all sticking up, so you can just see that everyone works. I'm going to screw them all in just to the top. So our good, we got this at the right time, we got it where it can still be fixed. This will be good now for a number of years. I know it's tarnished and doesn't look too clever, but it is functional, it works, and as long as we keep these screws lubricated with a little squirt of WD-40, probably once every 3 to 6 months, it's going to last a long time. I've talked to Graham about this and he says he's going to look at replacing the bridge anyway, but there you go, they are all working. Fantastic news. It means we can set the bridge properly, set the radius on the bridge, so that's all good news. So what remains for me to do now is oil the fingerboard, get some lemon oil on there, which I'll do that right now. Let that soak in 10-15 minutes. We've already cleaned the fingerboard, remember we did that before the refret, so this is just to a bit of lubrication in there. Like I say, the knot is fine. I thought it might be too low, but it's not, it's just perfect. So there you go, we are now ready, more or less, to get the strings back on and set this guitar up properly. Something else I noticed earlier, a couple of days ago, was that the pots are a little bit scratchy. We're going to get the back plate off, we're going to get in there with some switch cleaner, give it a spray. The switch cleaner I use is Service-All. We'll give it a squirt, free up, get rid of any grime inside the pots, and that should get rid of the scratching on the pots. And that, after the setup, will be it. All guitars that come in for a refret, by the way, get a thorough, intensive setup. Other little jobs, little knickknacks I do that maybe not always mentioned is every nut and bolt is checked and tightened. That was a little bit loose. No stone unturned. Let's get in the right place for that. Beautiful, nice and tight. And make sure everything's all tickety-boo. Because when this bass goes back to its owner, it's going to play better than it's ever played before. Because if it doesn't, I haven't done my job right. Just tidying up some tools while I'm here. So, that is where we are right now. Everything is going well. The saddles went better than I might have sometimes expected. It came out without too much resistance. Everything's cleaned up, everything's gone in nice. And it's going really well. One thing I planned to do was get in behind the controls and get some switch cleaner in the pots because they are a little bit scratchy, but I wasn't able to do that because this is an active circuit. And there are two PCBs inside the control cavity under here, and a big fat, I'd imagine a double stacked blend pot. So the only way I'm going to get any service hole in there is by going through the top, and this is going to work or it isn't. And I'm just going to have to spray from the top and hope some of this gets inside. Not too bothered about any of it getting on the guitar because it's not going to damage anything. But hopefully some of this will go in. And all I'm going to, that's as much as I can do. I'm not going to put any more on than that. And it's just a matter of turning the pots left and right. Like so, and just hoping some gets in there, and I'm sure it will. Now I'm going to explain these pots to you because three of them, that one's a normal pot. So I imagine it's obviously probably master volume. I think this is a double stack one, but these are all two-way, which means they've got a detent in the middle. So we're at one end. As I turn there, it clicks into place. Click, click. So we can either boost or cut. Click, end, click, end. That's in the middle. That goes all the way. This one, listen. End, middle, end, middle. Same with this. End, middle, oh, there you go. End, middle, end, middle. So these three are cut boost. That is just a normal pot. Anyway, I'm just going to keep working these. You can now have a detail in the middle, which means we've probably got some switch cleaner in there. This is going to have to be enough because I'm not putting any more in. You cannot get inside that cavity. It is chocker full of wires, battery, pots. So this is another way of getting some switch cleaner in there. It'll work or it won't. You know, if we leave it long enough, it will work. So there we go. That's it. All I've really got to do now is get these knobs back on, get some strings on, or get these strings on, set the bridge, reset the intonation, well, and set up, and that is it. So we're an hour away from this being complete. And welcome back, guys. And here is the bass all done. Came in for a refret. It's had the bridge and saddles repaired. Didn't need to change the nut. Refret went very well. It was absolutely wonderful. They have gone in fantastic. This was a job that wasn't booked in. The guy was desperate to get it done because he's gigging next week, so I fitted it in. And what a fun project it's been. Oh, one more thing I did. Fixed the tuners. The screws were dropping out at the back. We filled the holes, re-drilled, and got that all done. So the guitar has had a complete refret and a setup. I've even fixed the electrics, which were scratching. I'm just going to bang it on the bench here. We're going to go through the pots. Volume. No scratching lock. So that is it. It is all done. Just turn off the amp while I'm here. That is all done. I've just gone through what work this bass has had. I'm just about to let the owner know that it's ready to pick up. Action set beautifully. It just looks, look at that. I guarantee that this bass now plays as good as it has ever done, if not better. And that is always my aim when I get an instrument in, to make it as good as it's ever been, if not better. So, tied up, this one is all tied up and finished. It is a Fender Precision Light bass, some kind of signature, I believe. There's a signature on there, don't know what it is. I'm not really bothered, to be honest with you. But it is all done and ready to go. And what a fun project it has been, but this is all ready to go, so I'm going to move on to the next one. So this is your fret friend. My name is Victor. Until next time, just before I go, remind you my website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. Fretfriend.co.uk is also now up and running again, so go and check that out. But this is your friend Vic, your fret friend. Until next time, boys and girls, as always, God bless you, be good to each other, and I'll see you soon.